Hello, and welcome to another episode of Rewriting Reality. I am your host, Shiraz, and uh, that was a little craziness that you probably didn't notice, but behind the scenes, I had the window to watch this on Facebook opened on another browser window, hidden amongst the 500 tabs I've got opened up, and I could hear that music overlaying with the music in the studio, and, and I was just like, "Oh my God, where is it?" So I just started closing everything till it didn't hear it anymore. So that's how I'm starting my show, and yeah, it's been a great month. I've been having a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to talking to Nikki today. She's going to teach us about leadership. And Nikki and I are in a program together. We're having a lot of fun there. And you're going to love this. I keep saying interview, but we're going to play. That's what we do here. I'm going to get coached by Nikki on leadership, and and then she's going to experience energetic magic. I don't know if she's ever experienced it before, so this could be a treat for her. And yeah, Jessica, been there. Just, just that frantic. There's an echo. Oh my God, what's about to happen here? So for those of you who have never been on the show or seen the show, what we do is my guests come in, we learn a little bit about them, and then they coach me on the spot so you can see their coaching style. You can see the value they have to offer. And I make myself as coachable as possible. And then we flip it around and I do energetic magic. And if you don't know what that is, you will find out before the end of the show. And if Nikki's never experienced it, she's going to find out by the end of the show. So it could be quite the treat, or it could be her going, "What the hell did I just sign up for? You didn't tell me about this part. Oh God." Okay. So without further ado, let's bring up Nikki Gianni. How you doing? Okay. Say hello because I didn't actually hear your voice yet. I cannot hear you. Uh-oh. I'm not hearing you. You are not muted. There it is.
There's so many choices for microphone settings. I'm like, oh no, too many.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
Okay,
Can you turn your gain up at all?
is that better?
That's better. All right. All right. So, Nikki, welcome to the show. You might get nervous after what I just talked about there.
Thank you. Thanks for the interesting introduction to fear. Yeah, no, I'm just kidding.
So, I mean, this is, we're talking about rewriting reality. I come in, I love to have my reality rewritten by my guests. One of the reasons we only do the show once a month is because when you coach me, when any of my guests coach me, I try to implement what you guys teach me. So if I was to do this every week, I'd just be, no, I got to do this. Now I got to do this. But now it gives me a full month to go, okay, Nikki's just taught me this about leadership. Let me go and implement that into my programs.
Okay. Very good.
All right. So please tell the audience. I told them you're a leadership coach, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. Tell us who you are and what got you into doing what you do.
Sure. So my name is Nikki Gianni. I was with the Department of Defense for 25 years. I was an active duty Air Force member for 10 of those 25 years, and then 15 years I was a civilian working for the military. I've been to 8 different bases, and I did acquisition mostly and HR. But I was a senior leader for the last 15 years of my career. So I managed billions of dollars and hundreds of people. And I just love doing leadership. It's just so fun to me. Like people are like, oh, I don't want to rate that person. I don't want to do that. That's fun. Give it to me. I'll do it. I'd rather do that than contracting work that I have to do. So I was better at it than the contracting work, even though I could advise very well. But anyways, so that's why when I left, I was like, okay, I'm tired of that. I need to change. And I was like, well, what am I going to do? I want to coach people. What am I going to coach them on? And leadership is what I came up with because it is something that I learned.
Oh, I hear that because it's something
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but it's almost like a scratchiness on your mic there. So
Can you hear me now? It's better.
it's I like the volume is good. It's just the
Yeah,
sound sort of
I know.
scratchiness.
I got a pretty good microphone, so I'm not sure. Um,
Okay.
maybe it's my ceiling fan. You know what? Let me turn it off. Yes.
Okay.
Is that better?
Oh,
Is that better?
okay. That's a lot clearer. Yeah.
Okay, good, good. Sorry about that.
Okay. So the last sentence you said was sort of got scratched out by the mic there.
Oh yeah, so I was when I left the DoD, I was like, what am I gonna do? So I decided on leadership because I love it. It's just part of me. It's I've been good at it ever since I was in sports when I was a kid, you know. And I just want to share that information because we don't get trained enough on it, you know. And how many people have had really bad weeks? All of us, right? All of us. So yeah, it's definitely something that needs to be addressed and talked about, and not only to the upper echelons or the lower ones, but everybody.
Okay. So let's go into that a little bit more. Why does everyone need to learn about leadership?
Well, because I'm so sorry. I don't know about what the problem is. I haven't done this before, but everybody needs to understand it because you're going to lead at some point, whether it's your peers or subordinates, and even your leadership, them too. You have to you'll be able to lead them too with your ideas, especially if they're not doing something that you think is right. You should be able to share that with them in a politically correct way, I guess you can say, and share that information that you have to make the organization better. So everybody needs to understand it. And the reason why I say that I'm not concentrating just on the beginning and the end, because the middle management always gets ignored in most organizations. They don't get any training. The newbies get all the training, right? Because that's they don't know anything, right? So you got to train them. And then the senior people, a lot of times they get that
Yeah.
training because they're the senior ones. They get coaches and all this other stuff. So my target audience is the junior leaders. So that's like kind of like the middle of the road. People who have been around a little bit, maybe a few years, and they want to take the next step, but they don't have any training, don't know where to start. So that's where I come.
Okay. So when you're working with them, what do you find is like they don't have the training, but what do you find is the biggest thing they need to learn at that level?
So there's two things. Number one is they need to recognize that they got chosen for a reason, and they need to stop thinking that they can't do it and that whole imposter syndrome. Right? They need to get rid of that. So I was picked, I was selected for a reason. I know what I'm doing. I have confidence. It's the first thing. And the second thing is they need to understand how to provide empathy.
How to
Empathy.
empathy.
How to provide empathy, right? So how to you will not gain trust and be able to lead an organization without providing empathy to people. So those are the two biggest things that I teach them. But also, basic things like how to give feedback and how to set expectations and how to create a growth mindset and that kind of thing. Provide that to them within 60 days, and they're squared away. They're ready to go, and it's pretty cool.
All right. So we get some agreement with you here.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
And that comes from lots of experience too. It's like just I was in one organization for the most part, I mean DoD for 25 years, in different capacities, of course. But I've seen it all. I've seen so many changes in leadership at high levels and at lower levels too. But and have some people come in and they want to change everything right away, and it's not good, that kind of thing. So I've been around the block and I understand where people are coming from.
Okay. So can you give me an example of someone you worked with, like one of your favorite people, where you came in, they just felt like there wasn't a potential for leadership, maybe, or they just did not get it, and what that transformation looked like? Oh, you're cutting out again.
Really?
Yep.
Oh no, I'm so sorry. Um, maybe if I change the mic, I don't know. Maybe if I disconnect this and just use my
Sure.
left
Let's try it.
hand.
Let's try it.
How's that?
Oh my God, so much better.
Okay, good. Get rid of that crappy mic.
Okay.
Okay, great. So, well, I think one of the best ones is I had an employee who was a considerable amount older than me,
Mhm.
right? And but she wanted to be in a leadership position, but she wasn't having. I'm alive. Yeah, I'm alive. Um, she wanted to be in a leadership position, but she wasn't having an easy, a good time like with interviews, and because she was very rough around the edges. Okay, just very blunt. I can't believe she's not from New York. I don't remember where she's from, but she sounded like a New Yorker pretty much, like I do, and that's why we related so well. But I ended up training her on different techniques, and she took my criticism very well. You know, whenever something happened, I would be like, "Hey, listen, this I didn't like that. Don't do that anymore." You know, or that was great. Do that. You know. And she would just take it in stride and suck it all in. And I helped her with her interview skills, and she was selected to get a promotion. So that was always great to hear, right? And
Yeah,
it's fun. I don't know how many people I've hired that I've gotten to coach through the years, and now they're like all the way up at the top. You know, it's so fun to see that. It's really cool.
I love it.
Hmm.
Oh, what do you find is the biggest misconception people have when it comes to being a leader?
That they know everything.
Oh, no hesitation there. Just like boom.
They think that they're supposed to know everything because they are the boss, and that is the furthest thing from the truth. You know, so I moved so much that I was the new guy every 2 to 3 years, right? So how am I going to know what each organization does perfectly being the new guy, right?
Mhm.
So that's where the whole empathy and believing in trusting your people and them trusting in you works out, because I would walk in and be like, hey, listen, guys, I I don't know what you do here. You know, I have an idea, but I don't know how you do it. I don't know why you do it. So you need to teach me, and I will listen to you, and we can work on things together. If you want to change something, let me know, and then we'll be good. And they loved it. Every time I go to a new place, it worked. You know, to show the respect to them that they are knowledgeable and they are going to guide me. I'm there to give them top cover and to help them out with making decisions and stuff like that. But they're the ones doing the grunt work, right? They're the ones doing the hard work.
Mhm.
So yeah, I had one guy say to me, I was giving him an assignment to do, and he's like, "Okay, well, um, I've really never done this before." And I'm like, "Well, you know what? I haven't either." So, and he's like, "What? Aren't you supposed to know everything?" And I'm like, "Well, is that really realistic, there, buddy?" You know? How am I supposed to know everything? I said, but we can learn together, you know? And I said, that's, he goes, well, leaders are supposed to know everything. I said, well, if you think that, then you're never going to be a leader,
Wow.
because it's never going to happen. Um, yeah. And he never got promoted, the poor guy. So
Oh,
it's because of the attitude, you know, it's that
yeah.
attitude of like, um, yeah, just kind of like what it's my way or the highway type thing. But
Mhm.
yeah, we don't know everything. And you won't either when you become a new leader. So don't even pretend like you do. You know, I think being humble and saying you don't know or saying you made a mistake holds a lot more weight than not doing that.
Nice. So you would agree with what Jessica put. That's probably why so many people have fear around being in leadership because they think, how can I possibly know everything?
That's a really good point. That is a very good point. Yeah. I mean, well, if you think you have to know everything, then why would you even apply? Because you don't. Well, yeah, who does? I mean, really, God, maybe, if you believe in that, right? But that's
Yeah.
about it. Yeah, that's a good point. So don't be afraid to not know everything, because you won't ever, and just try and see what happens.
And one of the things you said earlier with empathy, it brought me back to a job that I had back when I was still in tech, and they would be giving us all these assignments, and there were 3 different systems. There was the forms, the reports, and just the pure code, and I loved the forms. I was okay with the reports, and I hated the code.
Okay.
And so they keeps giving us assignments, but it's just completely random. And so I'd be working on forms, and I'd be working on code. And one segment, I just got code, 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 and my performance went down. I was not happy, and then I heard from one of my friends. He said, "Well, they're thinking about letting you go because your performance has been so bad."
Oh, wow.
Right. And then all of a sudden I got a whole bunch of forms and my performance went back up. And then my manager actually said, you've been doing really good recently and we're happy with your performance. And then eventually I left and I came back to visit like a year later, talking to people at lunch. And I brought that up with some of my friends from work, and I said, if I had just got forms all the time, my productivity would have been great. And one of my friends goes, "Oh my God, if I just got code all the time." One guy says, "Oh, I love reports." I'm like, so if he had just talked to us,
Exactly. Communication. Oh my God, what a surprise. Yeah, some people are just better at things than others, and they like doing that kind of stuff. So
Mhm.
give that to them, you know? So one of the things in my program that I do in the very beginning is I have them take the Clifton Strengths assessment, right? This
So
thing,
what
if you
did
haven't
you say?
taken it, guys, it is so cool. By Gallup. You remember, Gallup, the guys who do the polling?
Gallup polls, yes.
Well, they have a program called Clifton Strengths.
Okay.
Okay, the Clifton Strengths Assessment, and it's 34 different strengths. And you take a test. It takes about 30 minutes. It's kind of like a personality test, like a Myers-Briggs type thing, but it's very much more in depth. And they
Mhm.
give you your top 5 strengths, and you can. I'm going to take those once they take the test. Give me the results, and we're going to look at them. Right? Be like, okay, well, so mine, I love it so much that I have my 5 strengths like on the side of my computer right here.
Oh
Okay,
wow.
so I will tell you what they are, and then you'll see what the greatness of it is. So strategic, futuristic. So strategic is of course thinking about the big picture. Futuristic is looking at what things could be like in the future. Individualization, that's like finding the good, the strengths in other people to pull out and use. Activator is do, and then positivity is obvious positivity. This is me to a T. Okay, and so what I want to do with those strengths tests is say, okay, well, what are your top 5, and how are we going to pull those out to the best of our ability, so that will improve all of your performance, your whole kit and caboodle, right? And you don't have necessarily weaknesses; you just have strengths that aren't as strong, right? Because there are 34 of them, so there are a lot of them. But
34.
yeah, there are 34. So
Rats.
everything is very individualized, right? So like with the Myers-Briggs, there's only 16 choices, right? But
Mhm.
with this, there's millions of possibilities of combinations. So it's very personalized and it's very effective because ever since I've kind of known that, like, and somebody has actually said it to me, like officially, I guess you could say,
Mhm.
I'm like, oh, well, that's what I'm going to, that's me. Yeah. So I took charge of it and I'm like, yeah, and I use it more. So yeah, that's a big part of my program as a foundation for their leadership techniques and style.
Wow. So, okay, I know some people are thinking this. Shouldn't I work on those things that aren't my strengths as well? Shouldn't I bring them up?
No, you shouldn't. Just like if your boss at that place would have
Yep.
given you the forms instead of the code. Now, of course, he didn't even help you with the code, right? Or like
Yep.
give you training or anything like that. So it might have been a little bit different if they did. But if you just don't like it, right, and you don't want to do it, you're not going to be good at it, right?
Mhm.
It's just a human nature. So um, why bother trying to make like you can't shine a turd, basically, is what it comes down to. You can't shine a turd. So you can't make something that's ugly pretty, right? You just
Mhm.
have to accept it for what it is, put it to the side, and use your ones that you can make pretty to bring out the best in you, if that makes sense. So
Yep.
when people give you feedback and they're like, oh, well, you really need to work on this and that. Now, of course, there's some things that people need to work on, like, okay, if you're off the wall, you're screaming and yelling all the time. Okay, well, you need to work on that, right? That's not a strength either. Anyways, but you know, people try to get their weaknesses better and they end up not doing well with it and getting frustrated and annoyed and pissed off, and it backfires.
Mhm.
So focus on the strengths, because if you focus on the strengths, the weaknesses will, kind of get pushed away,
No.
and not seen so much, right? Because if you were doing the forms all the time, nobody would have cared if you didn't do the code very well,
You're right.
right?
That's actually a really good example from from me.
Yeah. So.
Okay, cool. So
Hmm.
we are going to get into the coaching segment here.
Okay. Okay.
So for the next 10-ish minutes, maybe 15, you
Mm.
get to coach me
Okay.
on leadership.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm here. I want to lead. Tell me, what do I do, Nikki? What do I do?
Well, sure. Well, it's kind of hard to be able to do that because I don't know what your foundation would be. So, are we going to make something up? You want to make up a story, or do
Sure.
you want to use something from your past, whatever? And I'll
Okay.
just ask you about it, so that way I can get a feel for how we need to go, right? What direction we need to go in, maybe.
Okay. So, okay, well, let's sort of put it closer to stuff that's going on.
Okay.
Um, sorry, I just saw that my battery is not fully charging. But that's good. We still got enough till the end of the show. Um, so, uh, if I'm leading a program, because I lead several programs.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm trying to go into stuff that has happened in the past. What if there are personality conflicts amongst the people in the program,
So amongst the students or amongst
amongst,
the people?
amongst the students? First of
Okay.
all, right there.
Well, I would definitely have to say that you need to talk to them all, right?
Mhm.
You might want to talk to them individually at first. It just depends on your approach, or just nip it in the bud and just be like, okay, guys, let's get together and let's talk about why we're not getting along, you know, and see what's going on. And they might just have a complete misunderstanding of how this person is and how they come across, and they're offended by them or whatever. Can you give me more specifics as to why? Did you find out why they weren't getting along?
It was different person. So one person's very expressive,
Mm-hmm.
uh, likes to is the type that's verbose. They'll go into a story about what's going on, and
Mm-hmm.
the other person is just like, let's get to the point. Like I don't want to hear all this extra details, and you're
Mm-hmm.
just annoying me.
Right.
And I know it flips around the other way too, because if the one person just says some quick stuff, this is what I have to deal with. The other person's like, I don't have enough information. Like, how
Mm-hmm.
do you expect me to go from there? Like,
I got you. So I think that knowing where people are coming from is really important. For example, I had an organization, I walked into it and it was a disaster. Like these people were like at each other's throats,
mhm.
like almost coming to blows in the office.
Oh
That's
wow.
how bad it was. Okay. Like I'm like, guys, just what is going on? So I brought in somebody from the health and wellness center, and they did personality test with all my people, including me.
Mhm.
And it was like a 2 hour session, and we filled out all these things, and then we came up with colors for what we are, right? So if you're blue, you're kind of emotional. If you're orange, you're aggressive. If you're green, you're analytical, that type of thing. So once we found out what everybody's colors were, everybody was like, oh, that's why you're like that. I
Mm.
understand now. Okay, so I won't get mad at you when you do that, because that's just your personality and you're not trying to annoy me. You know? You're not trying to be a jerk, right? That's
Yeah.
just your personality. And your personality might be jerky to me, but it's not supposed to be. Right? So, if people understand where they're coming from,
Mhm.
their viewpoint, and it gets very drastically changed, because there wasn't any more arguing in the office at that point. Every once in a while, I would get a little heated, but it wasn't anything like it was before. Let me tell you. I was having to separate people like children, like in kindergarten. Okay, you sit over here, you sit over. No, that we didn't have to do that anymore after they understood their personalities. So I think if they talked to one another and said, okay, well, this is how I liked it, like just how you said, oh, this person is like this and this person is like that. So you just got to give each other a little bit of time and leeway to be able to see each other, get to the middle.
So would you recommend, I don't know how it would be implemented. I'm sure there's systems to do that. people put that personality on the Zoom, like if we're having Zoom meetings, that like someone's a green or someone's a red, so that everyone can just see it.
Yeah, or maybe you can give them a shortened version of the test while you're online, while you're on the Zoom call. Say, hey guys, let's take this test real quick. I'll email it to you, or maybe take it before they start the class, and say, hey, what did everybody come up with? And then everybody says, I've done that with people. I managed an organization only from virtual situation for over 2 years, and I did that too. I went through the personality test, just the Myers-Briggs type thing,
Mhm.
and just so that everybody could get to know one another better. As soon as that happens, it really does open everybody's eyes a little bit and their hearts a little too, because then they have empathy for others.
Mm.
When there's no reason to empathize with somebody because they think they're a jerk, then it's hard to do, right? But if you understand where they're coming from, and there's empathy for everybody, right? I mean, but sometimes it's hard to digest for some people. So yeah, I would definitely recommend doing it.
Okay. Oh, one situation that came up. This was I didn't know how to handle this. I wasn't in leadership, but I want to know from your perspective, if I am in leadership, what do I do here?
Okay.
And we were on a project. We had a deadline. It was getting tighter and tighter, and people weren't getting everything done. So when we have a team meeting, it was this game of pass the buck. Oh, it's not our fault
Mm.
because you didn't get this done. Oh, we didn't have the information from these. Like, how in that situation where you see no one wants to be the person at fault and they're all passing it around, what do you do?
Oh my goodness. This was the story of my life in acquisition. Okay. Every day it was like this. The program teams or the contracting, we would always get blamed for everything contracts because we were the last piece of the pie, right?
Mhm.
And we are the traffic cops. So we couldn't let bad things happen, and they didn't like it if we didn't want to let them do whatever they wanted to do. So yeah, totally understandable. And you just have to hold their feet to the fire. You're like, okay, well, everybody has their part and it's in a schedule, right? Because if it's a project that's big enough, they have a schedule written out
Mhm.
where everybody owns the each piece. And if you aren't delivering, then you're responsible. So doesn't matter who didn't do what, you're responsible for getting it. And if you don't want to do that, then you're just going to be the one that we're going to keep looking at, you know, and put them put put them on blast, a little bit like that. And usually it works.
Okay.
Usually, if it doesn't, then you have to speak with them and be like, okay, listen, I can't have you in charge of this anymore unless you're going to do it. And take away the responsibility and give it to somebody else who wants it, because there's always people who want more.
Nice.
Hmm.
Jessica's now best friend with.
I wonder why. I'm glad though. Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, I think that's in every organization they have that situation, and you just have to hold people accountable,
mm.
right? I mean, if you don't do that, then you're never going to get anywhere, and there's always going to be problems, and there's always going to be strife, uh, because some people will always be holding their weight and picking up the team, and there'll be others who are never really holding their weight and holding up the team at all. So you either get them to perform or you push them out.
So, with getting them to perform, are there things that you found that work really well? So, like, there's the whole talk of carrot and stick, and what do you find motivates a team?
It's all dependent on the personality of that person, right? Or that team. So some people are motivated by money.
Mm.
Some people are motivated by clout, or recognition. So you have to figure out what those people are driven by and play off of those. When you're a leader, you're kind of like almost like a used car salesman. Have you ever gone like to a car dealership and they're like, so I walked in the Cadillac dealership and I want to buy a car, and they're like, "Oh yeah, where are you from?" "Oh, from New York." "Oh, my family's from New York too." And there's always like some kind of connection with
Yeah.
them, like okay, how come that every time I go to buy a car, they always have something in common with me, and it's because they're reaching for that, so that way they can build that credibility with you, right?
Okay.
So you find out what they like, and you try to motivate them with the things that they like. Uh, I found that usually threatening and punishing usually isn't very effective.
Mhm.
Rewarding and empowering are the keys to having a productive, happy organization. Trusting them because you want to gain trust from them as a leader, but you need to trust them too. Yeah, or else you're gonna be hosed. It's not good. You're gonna end up micromanaging all the time, and it's gonna be very stressful for the leader and very annoying for everybody else. So yeah, you just have to play off of people's strengths and ask them what they want. What can I do for you to make you more productive? And put it on them. You know, um, turn it around all the time to them because the leader doesn't have to have all the answers. Just like they don't need to know everything. They just need to be able to pull out the answers from the people that work for them.
Got it. It's interesting because when you something just clicked when you said the recognition. Because I was on a project once, and I was leading the project, and I had a bowl of Werthers. Do you know the Werthers candies?
Oh yeah, I love those.
Right.
Yeah.
And whenever someone had a breakthrough or solved an issue or something, I would toss them a Werther's, and it improved the productivity. And I'm like, these guys really love this candy. But then what you're saying is no, they like the recognition that the candy's coming to them and everyone's seeing it.
Yeah, and you see it as the leader, you're seeing it and you're saying you did good. So yeah, they probably like the candy too, but or maybe they didn't, they just kept hiding them away. Oh yeah, sure. Um, because they liked it. Yes, so yes, it's definitely important to figure out what they like. And so you know how like that there's a saying, the golden rule supposedly, do unto others as you would want unto you.
Mhm.
No, no, forget that rule, people. Forget that rule. Do unto others as they want done to them.
Mm.
Okay. So, like the love languages, have you ever
Yeah.
heard of that? Right.
Yes.
And so if you're a giver and the other person is a quality time and you don't realize that, you're going to be giving gifts to the person who just wants your time and they're not going to be happy. Right. So
Yeah.
once you know that, you're like, oh, well, I'll give them the gift of my time. That way you're both satisfied. It's the same thing in the workplace, in working situations. You have to give them what they want. And it might not be what you want.
So I think this is a thing that a connection that most people aren't making is that the love languages work at work, not just in
They
your personal relationships.
Yeah, the same concept applies. It's crazy how we don't realize that. It's very basic. So even you might even want to do something like that with your group that's in strife.
Mhm.
Maybe find out what their love languages are. That might be a little bit easier than doing the personality test quicker.
So just one quick thing, because this makes sense, and I love what you're saying and where you're going with it. But if the love language is physical touch, can that be a problem?
Well, I guess you can ask them, what can you equate that to in the professional world?
Hmm.
So maybe like an attaboy, or
Or a high
something like
five,
that.
or
High five, or that's very hard to do in the virtual world now. Right? So you
yes.
just got to pretend, I guess. But, um, so that would be a good thing That'd be a good thing to try and figure out how to equate it, right? So maybe that's something, a little project that I'll do. I'll take all of the love languages and be like, okay, well, this is how you equate it at work, and
Yeah.
that way we can use it.
Okay. I like that.
I'll have to brainstorm. I have to brainstorm that a little bit.
Is Jessica's solution is slap the camera.
I love it. Oh man.
All right. So, okay. And okay, so this has been like very helpful because it's just the way that you're putting these things together that weren't I didn't put together before.
Oh, great. I'm so glad. I'm so glad I could give you some information to use. Because you've done that for me plenty of times there, when we were in Denver. You helped me out a lot. So yeah.
Oh, welcome.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, yeah, it's well, I mean, I know what you do, and we see each other weekly, so I have an idea of what's going on with your life and your business, but I've never actually experienced and had like a conversation with you about
Right.
leadership and what you train. And so this has been great. And yeah, and just hearing the results you've got, and getting to experience you as a coach instead of you as another student. Like,
Right,
so,
right. The complainer who's like, "I'm not getting this right. I want to, help me." I'm always asking questions.
it's not that bad. But this is the thing. This is what I love is you're not afraid to ask questions.
No,
You're
no, I'm
you're
not.
you're constantly seeking more information. You're looking to learn, and there's no embarrassment of it. And I think that makes a great leader, because, like you said, the people that think they have to know it all, and then I assume there's a whole bunch of people that don't want to admit that they don't know it all.
Oh, that is definitely true.
So what happens to a leader in that position?
They don't do very well. People don't like them. You have to be liked on some level, right? You don't have to be loved by everybody. My
Mhm.
ex-husband used to say, he's an army guy, so he always had these great sayings. And he's like, I just need 51% of the people
Mm.
to be on my side, you know, and the other half, the other 49%, they can, watch the others appreciate me and understand my philosophy, and then maybe get on board. And if not, too bad. They're the minority, right? I wouldn't go that far, but you have to be. People have to like you to. They have to respect you. They might not like you, but they have to respect you, and they have to believe that you have the capabilities that you're saying that you do, or that the position is supposed to have, right?
Mhm.
And if you can't admit when you don't know something or when you're wrong, even if you know so much, it knocks down your credibility instantly. And people notice it right away when you don't want to admit something.
Yeah.
It looks bad, you know. I just say sorry. I made a mistake. I should have known that already, and I'm so sorry. And let's fix it. Help me fix it. As soon as I say that, they're like, "Oh, she's not like Miss Know It All or whatever." Okay, cool. Let's help her. So it works out. It works out for me, I tell you. So it'll work out for you too.
One of my coaches used to say, if you have a choice between being liked or respected, go with respected, because oftentimes
Hmm.
people that are liked aren't respected, but people that are respected are often liked.
Usually,
Yeah,
yes.
usually.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I have respected some people that I wasn't crazy about their personality, but I respected what they could do. And usually when they were a leader. But when I didn't respect them, I didn't like them
Mhm.
because I don't like weakness and jerkiness or whatever. And that's what I equate to not respecting somebody.
Yeah.
It takes a good amount to not respect somebody, right?
Mhm.
Hmm. Think about it. Like, what would make you not respect me, right? I would have to do something weird and
Yeah.
crude or bad or something, right? You know?
So you have to put a lot of effort into not being respected, right?
I think so. I think so. Unless somebody's just like a total pessimist who doesn't like anybody, right?
Mhm.
But that's okay because they don't like anybody. But yeah, you have to do something dumb, I think, or something repetitively negative toward that person's idea of goodness or something like that. I don't know.
Oh, I get it. Cool. All right. Well, then we're going to flip it around now, and I'm
Okay,
going to do some energetic magic on you. So,
I
for
love it. Let's.
okay, so for the people who are just tuning in and don't know how this works, I'm going to talk to Nikki about something she'd like to shift in her life or her business. And when I talk to you, I can tell when your conscious beliefs match your unconscious beliefs. So whenever
Okay.
they don't, I'm going to let you know. I'm just going to say that's not
Okay.
actually coming up true. So I'm not trying to call you a liar. I'm just saying your subconscious has other ideas. Right?
Okay.
Once we find out that there's that discrepancy, we're going to find out what the story is that's running in her subconscious that makes that not true. So she could say, is a very basic one that a lot of people have. Is, if I say, would you like to make $100,000 more this year? And Nikki would say, of course I would. And I would say, that's not actually coming up true. And then we'll dig down and find out why that's not true. And it could be, oh, if I make an extra $100,000, that means I'm going to have to work so much harder, is the story that's running there.
Okay. Hmm.
And it's just a false story because you can now hire people if you're making the money and do a lot less work. So then I'm
Sure.
going to say, Nikki, are you willing to step out of that story? If you say yes and you mean it, and again, I can tell if you mean it, then the story shifts in your mind right then. We're actually rewiring your neural pathways. When that happens, though, there's also a shift in energy. Everything is energy, including everything that's we're made up of. When energy shifts, I tend to yawn or cough. So that's going to happen in the next little while, assuming Nikki is willing to shift. Okay. Right. So just be prepared for that.
Okay.
And we're just going to go through and see how many different things we can change in the next 15 minutes. And then
Love it.
we'll do a wrap up of the show, and you guys are going to find out how, if you want to work with Nikki, how to get in touch with her. It's all going to be in the show notes anyways, but she's going to tell us. And then we have to rush off because the meeting we're talking about is right when the show ends at the top of the hour. So,
Oh boy. Well, you'll be ready then.
okay. So what would you like to work on?
Well, I am not good at figuring out how to tell people how my business necessarily. Like I'm shy about it.
Okay.
Even though it doesn't seem like I'm shy with this, like just going up to people and networking and being like, oh yeah, or like listening to them and saying, oh, well, you can really might be able to use my services or whatever. So because I need to get more clients in order to be able to survive. Right. I mean, that's just how it is. And, I'm really nervous about that because I need to make money in order to survive, and I don't want to go out and get a regular job. And please don't take this, people, to not work with me. But I just really, I just don't know how to necessarily get my name out there and
Okay.
advertise or whatever you want to say. Yeah, market.
When you're when you're talking to people about what you do, are you trying not to be a sleazy salesperson?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's coming up true. So what happens is your mind will go in one of two directions. And it's I have to make sure this doesn't happen, or
Hmm.
I'm going to make this happen. Right.
Okay.
And it doesn't do both at the same time. It's going to pick one path to go through.
Okay.
So when you're trying not to be a sleazy salesperson, you're not in the space of I'm going to have sales. You're just busy trying not to be the sleazy salesperson. You're trying not to annoy people. You're trying not
Hmm.
to make sure people go, oh, what? Why? I don't want to hear that. Right. So
Right.
you're putting so much energy in that, and that's actually stopping sales from happening, because the best way not to be a sleazy salesperson is to not make sales. Right.
Okay. That makes sense.
So when you stop trying to be that, it doesn't mean that people see you as a sleazy salesperson. It means now you can be fully into, let's do some sales, let's change some lives, let's help some people.
Hmm.
So are you willing to step out of the story that you have to make sure you're not a sleazy salesperson?
Yes. I have to, because if I don't, I have to go get a regular job. So oh, look, I'm on the right path, guys.
You are, you're shifty. Ooh,
Oh, that's a good one. You're gonna make
yeah.
me on now.
It's okay, you could yawn too. All right. Do people see the value in what you do?
I don't know. I don't know if they do.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm portraying it right. I don't know if I'm showing them it that
Okay.
well enough.
So here's the thing is if you believe that they don't see the value in it, then it makes you not explain it well. Right. And right, because they're not going to see it anyway. So I'm going to try it all these different ways. And then but when you get that you have value, I mean, everyone that's been listening to what you've been saying sees that you have value. Okay.
Well, thank you.
Right? So
I'm glad.
right. And that's because you weren't trying to be in sales mode, you were just in you mode. Okay.
Mhm, mhm.
And when you are talking to people about your business in you mode, in that this is a benefit to you, and this is going to change your life, this is going to increase your sales, this is going to see, you're not the only one feeling the way you're feeling. So, right, then you can get out of that worry that people aren't going to see the value. So are
Okay.
you willing to step out of the story that people don't see the value in what you do?
Yeah. Again, I have to, and I want to. I want people to think that I'm not valuable. Oh, here it goes. Yay, we're getting there. But I never thought of it that way at all. Never thought about that way at all. Like, because I think that I have value for sure. That's why I want to do this.
Yep.
But I guess I'm just not portraying that.
Yeah, because I know I can feel it. You know, you have value. It's that do people see it is the problem,
Right.
right? And that's where we have to get around. And here's what's actually going on out there is there are people out there that are specifically looking for you, right? And not someone that does what you do, but you. But when
Hmm.
you are in the space of, I don't know if they're going to see my value, you're not going to shine as brightly as you could. You're not going to be as visible as you can become, and they're not going to
Hmm.
find you. And what I mean by like specifically you is, have you ever been in a situation, whether it's either you're the giving or the receiving end, where it's the conversation is something like, I've tried to work with all these other people and they didn't get it, but you get me. You're the one
Hmm.
that's made a difference,
Yeah.
right? So there are people that are specifically attuned to you in this world, that when you're willing to be as visible as possible and be judged and go, have some people go, oh my God, I hate that woman, and other people go, oh my God, she's my my savior. Then you're not going to worry about talking about people because you know you have to connect to find these people
Right.
that are looking for you, and their lives are screwed without you. Right?
Okay.
Do you want to
Hard to
leave
believe,
people
but
screwed?
okay.
Right? Like,
No, I don't. I
right.
think I believe that too, right?
Yeah, and
Um,
these are the people that you'll say, and this is how much my program costs, and they're going to be like, "That's it," like, or some of them will be like, "Okay, I don't have that now, but I will get it because you're my person,"
hmm.
right? And I've been that way with several coaches at this point, where it's just like, "Yeah, I don't have that much money, but I will get that money," and then
Right.
by being in the program because I know they were the person for me, I always made that money back every single
Okay.
time, right?
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh, okay, so that's bringing up another thing for you. Is it do you have to make sure you don't financially inconvenience anyone?
I don't I don't think so, but I don't know. Like, I'm not sure. I'm
If someone
not sure.
says
I'm
is
afraid
wants
to
to
say
work
my
with you,
price though, because I'm afraid they're gonna be like, "Oh my God."
yeah,
You know?
there it is. That's it. That's basically what I'm saying. Okay, but you're in
Yeah.
your words, okay, you're trying to make sure no one goes, "Oh my God," with your price. Okay,
Yeah.
so okay, you have to let some people be there.
Right.
Some people are going to be there. Some people are going to be like, "That's reasonable," and some people are going to be like, "Oh my God, that's a bargain." But if
Mhm.
you're not willing to have the oh my gods in there, you're going to keep pushing back from any kinds of sales and any kind of visibility, right?
Okay.
I'm like my high end program is $100,000, right? And so
Wow.
people go, what? What? There's the right, and I'm like, if you can't do that, it's not for you. That's it. And
Right.
it's but it's risk reverse, so it's like 12,500 to start, and then you only pay as long as you get results. So it ends up being 100,000. And when people
Right,
hear
right.
that, it's like, okay, that sounds more reasonable. But
Yeah.
when I say it first off, I'm like, it's $100,000, but it gets to a million. All right. If you invest 100,000, you will get a million. That's the guarantee of the program. If people are still like,
Sale.
well, that's insane. Well, they're not my people. If people go,
Mhm.
oh, I can see that. That makes sense. You're 10xing your value. Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
And then
Mhm.
we can go into more of it. But I'm not
Okay.
afraid to have people go into that reaction of like, it's what? It's like, I'm like, no, it's worth
You're
it.
not, okay?
Right.
I have I have to believe that. I have to believe that to
Okay.
myself, yeah. Okay.
So are you willing to step out of the story that you have to make sure no one goes into shock from hearing your prices?
Yes, I hope. Uh, yes, yes, yes. I have to believe that. I must believe it.
So, because here's the thing, you know you're worth it.
Yes, I do. I
Okay.
do.
So when you're in that space of I'm totally worth it. In fact, this is a bargain. That energy hits other people. And that's when they go, here's the money, or I will get the money.
Right.
Because
Right.
because you're not in that space of worry. Oh, I hope this doesn't offend you or you don't get worried. You're just like, no, this is it. This is going to solve your problem, right?
Right.
Totally worth it. Go for it.
Okay. I will do that.
Okay.
I won't be afraid.
Okay. Cool. All right. Do you have to deliver with every client?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if I don't, then what am I going to do? I'm going to have to give them their money back
Not
because that's what I
necessarily.
say.
Okay.
Because I'm like, satisfaction guaranteed, you know, 30-day
Okay.
satisfaction guarantee because I don't
As
want them
long
to
as
be afraid
as
of
long as they
me.
do the work.
Yes, that is true.
Okay.
Yes,
But
absolutely.
what's going on is your mind is like, no, I have to get results with every single client.
Hmm.
It's not putting a barrier on as long as they do the work. It's every single client.
Right.
So what happens is if you think that that person might not get the results, you're actually going to push them away energetically and not get them as a client, even though they
Oh,
might get the results, because every client has to get results.
yeah. And I don't want to take a chance on somebody not getting it.
Yeah.
So they end up not trying at all. Okay.
Yeah. And here's the thing, you're going to be coaching and you're going to have clients that don't get results. You're going to have clients
Hmm.
that, even though they're doing the work, they don't get the results because that's their story, because everyone's locked in their stories. And
And
so
I have to send it
sometimes,
to you.
right? Yeah. And that's what some people are doing now. I've actually, several businesses are now coming in to just hire me to get their people unstuck so that they can finish their courses, get the results, get the testimonials, and move on.
Right.
So, but with you, I want you to, sorry, now it's starting to shift. Good. I want you to get, Tony Robbins has a program that you go through. Like he's got his retreats and stuff. He's got a formal program that you go through. He's admitted
Hmm.
that 5% of the people that take that program finish it.
Only 5%,
5%.
but people
Okay.
still go. They still try, right?
Okay. So, but this doesn't make the program a failure. It just shows that people have all these blocks, right? A
Right.
study recently showed 92% of people seeking success don't achieve it, right? 8%
Yeah.
are in that space to get there. So you have to realize when you're doing your business, people are not going to get success in your business, and people
Okay.
are going to get success, and some people are going to go way beyond what you thought.
Mhm.
If you're not willing to have every outcome, you're going to unconsciously make sure there's no outcomes, which means as few clients as possible.
Yeah, that means no income. Yeah.
Okay. So when you're willing to have every outcome, but your intention is to have everyone succeed, the allowance is that some people won't. That's when
Okay.
everything opens up.
Okay. Because I
So
thought that way when I was a leader in every other organization I was in, right? So I'm a
yeah,
leader of my own organization, so I have to think that too.
yeah.
Okay.
And it's amazing how we change the rules when it's our organization.
Totally.
So are you willing to step out of the story that you have to get results with every client?
Yes, that is true. Yay! I'm changing my story, people. Oh my goodness.
Making me laugh while I'm yawning.
Oh goodness.
Okay.
Yay.
All right. How are you feeling now? Better, worse, the same, or different? No wrong answer.
Better. Yeah, I feel good. I'm actually gonna write everything down that we just said
Mhm.
after we get off because I wanna like put it up on my computer and in my planner and put it there to remind me
Mhm.
of those things.
Yeah. And this is the thing. You have to stay in that space of you're valuable. And
Mhm.
and the more and more you practice this, then that when some people go, "Oh my God," with your price, and other people are just like, "Yeah, that's totally reasonable." Uh,
Mhm.
the easier it'll be to just be you in the sales talk, because right now you're not being you. You're this person trying not to be this, or
Right.
you were up until we had this conversation. Now you can just be
Right.
you.
Mhm. Okay. That's a lot easier.
It is. It's so much easier.
I could be me. It's easy.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
great.
So yeah, so that's now we got to play. We went both ways.
Thank
So
you so much. That was very helpful. I really appreciate that. And I'm sure that you get that problem all the time with people. So it's easy for you to fix it, right? Because you know how everybody has it, I guess, or a lot of people do,
pretty
at
much.
least. Yeah, because I mean, I've never had to sell anything. I've always been the buyer. I was a contracting person. I bought things. Everybody come to me. I
Yeah,
didn't have to go to anybody. And now I have to go to people, and it's just like, oh, yeah. So um, that was very helpful. Thank you so much, Shiraz.
you're welcome. And here's the thing, don't think of it as selling, thinking of it as offering the solution they want.
Right. Right. And if they don't want it, they don't want it, right? If they
Yeah.
do, they do. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So now, if people want to, there we go. You're definitely not alone, Nikki.
Oh, thank you so much.
All right. If people want to get in touch with you, how do they do it?
Well, you can go to keytoproductivity.com, and that's where you will get shortly. I have to do my podcast first. I'm going to do a pop-up podcast this week, and I'm going to post it. And you're going to get all there is to know about trust and gaining trust and confidence from your employees in a 3-part podcast for free. $9.97 value, now free. And then you can also reach me and check me out on NikkiGianni.com, NikkiGianni.com. Just like that on the name. Yeah, right there.
Great.
And there's a bunch of free stuff on my website too. NikkiGianni.com/free. And I give you a whole bunch of free stuff.
Okay, if you want free stuff, NikkiGianni.com/free. Go for it.
Yeah.
And for those people who don't know what a pop-up podcast is, it's a small podcast that you make that's just 3 20-minute episodes. It's audio only, and you can just listen to it and get the wisdom of Nikki in 3 20-minute segments. Easy to digest, and she's got a lot of wisdom to share, as you've been finding out on the show. You're going to find out even more on the pop-up podcast.
Thank you so much. Yeah. I'm looking forward to recording it. I was really nervous about it before, but I'm not anymore because I know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, and we'll put the free stuff in the show notes. So we have like a minute to get to our next thing. So thank you, Nikki, for being on the show.
Thank you, you're so great. I love it. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Oh, and thanks everybody for listening.
All right. We are out of here, and we'll see you next month for another episode of Rewriting Reality.
Bye.